couldn't resist the opportunity to sing that today. On that inner, it's got me a little bit off center, but I love rain, but it's pretty dramatic out there. Thanks.
Oh my goodness. We have rain, we have weather, man. We have atmosphere. Yes? Is it raining at the elevations? That's what we need to do. Are we getting snow?
Yeah, we are.
No? Yeah,
Yeah,
we are.
actually.
Okay.
I heard after this storm this week from an expert that we're at 100%.
Really?
Capacity
Yeah,
of
the
what we
next
have.
one will get snow.
Be careful what you wish for. Now we're going to get like 200 or 300%.
Let's get greedy with it. So we don't want to take a chance. 100% is no longer enough. Oh my goodness. So, what do we begin with, everybody? Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed individuals can change the world. Indeed, that's all that ever has. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 I'm thinking, a bunch of stuff is going through my mind, but you did that song, and there's an old, I don't even know the whole song, I just know this little hook right here, and it comes in handy sometimes when I'm going through stuff, so I'm going to share it since it's raining, and it goes like, the storm is passing over, hallelujah, and it's just recognizing that whatever I'm going through in the moment, whatever the circumstance is right now, it's not here to stay, it's temporary. I guess it actually is important what we talk today, because everything's in a transition state. And so whatever the condition I'm in right now, it's not going to stay. There's going to be a break in the storm. There's going to be a shift in focus and consciousness. And so the storm is passing over. Hallelujah. Can we do that? The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. One more time. The storm is passing over. Hallelujah. So who's got it? Who can do it? Show us how to do it. Who's got it? Anybody?
Is passing.
The journey today. And last week I tried my best to talk about the mystery. What is the mystery? What is consciousness? Where does consciousness come from? Where does it originate? And I'm reminded of Einstein, who said that a problem cannot be solved from the same mindset that created the problem. And that's one of the challenges and opportunities with talking about consciousness, is because we're trying to describe the infinite from a finite awareness. And so no matter what we describe this infinite cosmos to be, we're only seeing, we're like the people, what the guys looking through the fence, looking at the elephant or whatever it is, and one guy says it looks like a snake, and somebody looks like a stick at the tail, and somebody it's a great wall with the sides, and then it's got the legs, it's a stump of a tree, and the ears is a great fan. Everybody's seeing a piece of what an elephant looks like, but nobody's seeing the entire elephant. Are you with me so far on this? Good, because we need to be together on this. And so the idea that we can comprehend the infinite is just not true. We're not going to get the infinite. We can get beyond our own reasoning in the moment, but the infinite is the infinite for a reason, because it goes beyond. It is not limited to finite awareness, and the only way we can grasp the infinite or understand it is for us to lose ourselves into a reality that is so much bigger than we are, that we literally have to disappear in order to experience it. And when we experience it, we can come out of it and try to describe what we've experienced, but if someone hasn't had the experience of disappearing into the nothingness, then you can't explain to them what disappearing into nothing is about. And one of the things that I like to use as an example is, because we're here by the ocean, when you go to the ocean and you stand on the beach, and what is that, the deionized air, the ionized, I don't know which one it is, but the air is different, yes? Mm-hmm. And you can feel an expanse. And in order for you to grasp what you're looking at, what will happen is you disappear. I'm sure everybody who's been to the ocean has disappeared at the ocean, yes? It's so big you can't comprehend it. But as you breathe it in and you allow your body to flow, to ebb and flow with the rhythm of the tide, something happens and we lose sight of who we are. There's what's his name? Dr. Newberg. He wrote an article for Time magazine, Are We Hardwired for God? And he talked about the ability of the human being to get in touch with this idea of God or spirituality. And what he did is he was a neurosurgeon, and he had a cosmic experience. he lost sight of himself. He didn't, he didn't believe this was possible. But he went to some spiritual retreat and it happened to him. And being a neurosurgeon, he knew there had to be something happening in his brain that was different from before. And he was, being a scientist, he wanted to figure out what it was. And so he got some nuns and some monks together and he asked them to go into meditation and he shot them up with this isotope thing that you can map the brain with when you have it in your system. And so he monitored what happened when they go into deep meditation. Are you with me so far on this? Okay, good. So what happened was, when you're mapping the brain like that, the different areas of the brain light up to show there's cognition there, there's activity there. And so what he saw is when they went into the deep activity called meditation, that parts of the brain shut down. The lights went out, went black, went dark. And that was curious because he's like, that's not supposed to happen. And so, but what he noticed and what he observed is that the part that shut down recognizes the self and the proximity. So where you are and who you are stop existing in a deep meditative state. And it makes sense that would happen because in order to grasp the infinite, we have to let go of the finite who we are and the finite where we are. We have to accept the fact that infinite is omnipresence, it's everywhere present. And in order for everywhere present, I have to stop being where I'm at right now and let myself be everywhere. So that requires the part of me that says I'm right here to stop operating. Are you with me so far on this? Because if it's going to say, no, you're right here, Mwati. You are not one with the cosmos. The map says you're here, and this is where you are, and so stop arguing with the map. And this identity piece that says, I am Mwati Rasuli. I'm a black man in America. I need to be afraid of this and that. I've got bad credit. I got a higher incidence of stroke and all the different things that they say about black men in America. Once I identify myself as that becomes my truth that I have to now fight through because this is the limitation that I've imposed upon myself. And it doesn't matter if we say, well, I'm gay. Well, I'm old. That's one that I keep wrestling with because I feel myself. My body is changing. My mind is changing. And so, sometimes the answer is I'm old. And that's a proud thing. That's not a disability. That's a thing that says, what, if you stay in the game long enough, you'll understand where I'm coming from. But, even that, to say I'm old is to deny that there's any youth in me at all. And so what we want to learn to do in describing the mystery is to recognize that whatever we say about ourselves becomes true in the moment. But the storm is passing over. As soon as we decide to be something else, we get to be something else. I like that. I like the fact that the storm is always passing over. As a matter of fact, the storm is not a bad thing. You welcome the storm because you realize in the storm you are actually being called upon to operate from a different level and a different frequency. It's like I wrapped up today. I had on a big old hat and a coat and everything. I'm actually preparing myself to live life on a different plane with a different level of understanding. And so because I have the perception that it's cold outside, I prepare myself for the cold. Well, when you go into that spiritual state where you recognize that God is all there is and you're one with God, you prepare yourself for that experience. And in preparing yourself for that experience, you begin with the realization that everything I see is a happening, an experience in the realm of consciousness, that I cannot experience anything besides consciousness, anything besides God. This is the journey. The mystery is that there's something out there that's so big and so vast and so powerful and so wonderful that it's creation itself. And it continues to give of itself, creating the universe, creating our lives, creating every circumstance and situation. And it is responsive to me, meaning that and that's what I love about the law of reciprocity is so ingrained that it shows up in children's rhymes. You know something is a truth when it stops being conceptual that only the elite have, and even children understand what goes around comes around. That's reciprocity. What we used to say, I'm rubber and you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks onto you. That's reciprocity. That's the universe responding, giving back to us what we put into it. And so when we recognize that this thing is infinite and it is responding to us, that is omnipresent, all powerful. It is present everywhere, omnipotent, all powerful, omniscient, knows everything because it is the organizing function and principle of all things, and omnibenevolent, always giving of itself. It is always unfolding a new idea, and we are in relationship with this thing. And the journey is the movement in consciousness, the movement of thought that takes us from the external based reality where life is happening to me to the realization that it's happening through me. And Dr. Holmes talks about the process of healing and the process in healing. He said there's no process of healing. It doesn't take time to be healed, but there's a process in healing in that the time it takes for us to understand that we're already whole, perfect, and complete, that is the process. That's the journey. The journey is the movement into an awareness that I am one with the cosmos. And there's so many ways and so many opportunities to do this, but just get in touch with the fact that we're always on the journey. People, I think it was it Emerson said that life is a journey and not a destination, which is a huge mind shift from the get mentality. You understand what I mean? The get mentality, get an education, get a job, get into the right social circles, get into the right neighborhood, get your kids into the right schools. You have to get. You keep getting because your reality is based outside of who you are, and you really don't have any identity except for the things that you have. And if you don't have those things, well then it's
Gotta get it.
you gotta get it. I remember while I was still in the get mentality when I first came back from Denver, and I was going through a divorce, and I hadn't had a job in like 9 months, and it was just, I was feeling all desperate, pitiful, self-pitiful, poor pitiful me. That's where I was at with myself, and I walked into Macy's, just walked through there, and I looked and saw the price tags on everything. And I actually began to weep because it seemed like there was a conspiracy that they, who they is. There really is no they. They is just a construct in our own mind, but I was stuck in, they don't want me to have anything, and that's why everything is so expensive. I was taking it personally that the universe was operating on the plane that I didn't feel I could operate on. So rather than decide I can operate on the plane, I let the storm just stop right over me, and I just walked around with the storm clouds on top of me saying, I can't do it, they won't let me do it, there's all these impediments in my way. Anytime we're talking about what they won't let us do, we're stuck in a paradigm of duality, we're stuck in the realm of external reference-based system where we have no power. And in the mystery, it's not about me having power. I recognize that there's something called power, and the thing called power is operating through me right now. And so I'm not worried about the power that I have or the power that I don't have, because I acknowledge that I don't need power. I accept power. I allow power. I permit power. That's one of my favorite lines I've been working on lately. It's like, I like to say, I will allow it. Anytime somebody says anything, I'm like, I will allow it. I'm going to let that be true. It's all right with me if you have that, because I recognize the power to be, do, and have is not something that I control, but it's something that controls me, inasmuch as it is always moving through me. People, the journey is recognition that there's something called God, there's something called the divine, there's something called the universe, there's something called the infinite intelligence, the absolute mind, the integrated fabric of life, whatever you want to call it. This thing is operating in a fashion that is responsive to me. And to the degree that I can accept that this thing is responding to me, that life is a mirror, and I'm getting back everything that I give to the mirror is coming back to me, this is the journey of awakening and the journey of recognition, and we are all on it. And we will never stop being on it. It's just how what's the line from Alice in Wonderland? How deep, how was it down the rabbit hole? How far down the rabbit hole do we really want to go? Some of us get stopped in the getness of life. We recognize this power, and I'm remembering my mom had a friend got into the philosophy the same time she did. And my mom was really interested in consciousness and going deeper, and eventually she became a practitioner and a minister, and this lady was like, well, you know, that's all fine and good, but I'm going to use this to grow my real estate business. I'm going to recognize that every deal I go into is the wholeness of God. I'm going to recognize that every person I greet is a potential client, you know, that's offering me, you know, all the riches of the universe can offer, and I'm offering them back. And she went into it with a whole, and she's like, I'm like, man, she's doing really, really well. Okay, because she used the principles in her life, even in her business. She said, no, I can do this as a business, through my business. It doesn't have to be like sitting on a mountaintop somewhere trying to meditate on a coconut or something. You know, they say that if you want enlightenment, you go to a mountain and you meditate for 20 years. But if you want to know what you've learned, you come back down the mountain and you get into a relationship. Because relationships is our opportunity. They're our opportunity to experience ourselves in juxtaposition of another human being. And so the shadow that we hide shows up in our relationship. And this is why relationships are so difficult, because we're in denial that we even have a shadow. It's other people who have a shadow. It's not me. I'm the good one. They're the bad one. Some people claim, no, I'm the bad one. You know, but that's a whole thing about relationship. The universe is always responding. And so since it's always responding, we decide what we want to hear back from the universe. It's like if you're standing on the cliff and the cliff has an echo, don't argue with the echo. Because the echo is never going to say anything contrary, contrary to what you're talking smack about me or whatever. I don't have to say anything. The cosmic echo is coming back for them.
It's true.
You don't have to do anything to anybody else. Just love them and get out of the way. As a matter of fact, you know, I'm not going to tell you that part. Okay, I have to do it now that I said it. You know, it gets to the point where you're so clear about the way the law works, how reciprocity works, that when people start messing with you, instead of being mad, instead of being afraid, you start smiling. You're like, oh man, you really are. You really are. You're working on one here. You're working on something here. Now I think there's a place in me where I'm going to be one day where I don't get pleasure out of this, but I'm not there yet. So I'm kind of like, I actually used this on my job. I had a job from hell, and I had affirmations taped on my desk, and I said those affirmations every day, 100 times a day. I was like, oh my God, it was the worst job ever. And I just say my affirmations, say my affirmations. First got into the I was in my foundational class, and man, my job changed, everything worked out great, man. Oh man, it all shifted because I stayed in touch with the reality of who I am. People, don't forget who you are. This is why Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed individuals can change the world. You are those individuals. You are those people. It doesn't matter how old you are, young or old, what your ethnicity, however you identify yourself. You know, there's what is it they say, there's more difference in whether or not we're tall or short, or whether we are bald or not, than there is in our ethnicity. And it's just a small infinitesimal shift in the DNA that makes us the ethnic parts of who we are. But some people are like, I'm really trying to, you can send, $100 and spit into a cup, and they can tell you all the different things that happen to get you here, to make you who you are. So, oh wow, look at all that stuff that happened. You're here. Enjoy it. Okay? The universe conspired for you to be present at this particular point in time, and you said yes. You would not be here if you didn't say yes. I know it's hard to get to, because sometimes I feel like, I didn't sign up for this. Yes, you did. You wouldn't be here if you didn't sign up. You wouldn't still be here if you didn't. Every day you sign it up. Every breath you take is an agreement. Okay, I'm here, and I'm going to deal with it. Okay, I'm here. Every breath, every heartbeat is a relationship that we're having with ourselves, with the universe. And if we don't like the universe, we can change the relationship. We can change our perspective, because we know we draw our good from an inexhaustible source that is constantly responding to me. Constantly responding to me. I'm just so caught up in this idea of shifting our focus. I talked to you last week about Peggy Bassett, and she had got to a place where she was in a wheelchair. She was the president of our organization, and she was at a conference. It was at our convention. And when it came time for her to speak, her husband wheeled her out in a wheelchair, and she took the microphone and told people to stop praying for her. She said, I'm not trying to get better. All my life, I wanted a closer walk with God. And now I have it because everything I need is being supplied to me by somebody else. My husband spoon feeds me. He washes me. He bathes me. He takes me everywhere I want to go. And so I am having to depend on the universe for everything. And this is what I asked for. She's like, it's in your mind that you think something's wrong with me because I'm in a wheelchair. But there's nothing wrong with me. Ram Dass said the same thing. He said, I used to spray words out there, I think he said, just with indiscriminate words. I just say whatever came to my mind. But after he had that stroke, he had to be still and sit long enough for the right words to come up, for him to say what he wanted to say. And he talked about how precious words are to him now because of that experience. People, you know, where you are, there's something magical and wonderful happening, and it is your response to the universe as it's responding to you. And when you know that, you decide to do what you want with your life. And the journey it takes for you to understand that it begins on the microscopic scale. And when I say that, that's the law of correspondence, as within, so without, from the micro to the macro. You recognize, as Deepak said, that there's this field of pure potentiality. And you're not in the field, people, as Lynn McTaggart says. You are the field of pure potentiality. You cannot be separate from it. You are a living, breathing echo port, distortion, or activity within the field that responds to what you think about yourself. And when you realize that the fabric of life, the fabric of the universe, is what you are, you stop thinking that there's something over there, somebody or something that can prevent you from having what you want. You can even stop thinking that you can prevent you from having what you want. Because the truth is, and this is critical in this work, is the realization that you will always be here in some fashion. You are not going to die and run out of time. That's not possible. Because the Spirit is eternal. That means that you cannot die, and you've never been born. You always have been, and you always will be. And so there's always going to be the opportunity for you to recognize the storm is passing over, and I can choose a different reality. What is it that I would like to have different in my life right now? That's the question. What is it that I'd like to have different in my life now? What is it? See, you're thinking of it right now. You're thinking of it right now. And guess what? The moment you're thinking of it, think of it as already solved. Don't think about the problem. Think about the solution. Don't think about the problem. Think about the solution. What is the solution to this situation right here? What is the answer to this right here? As you ask the universe what the answer is and what the solution is, the universe will respond and tell you what it is. Now, sometimes we don't like the answer. It can't be that. No. That's not it. I don't want it to be that. And so we go into denial because we want to change the rules of the relationship, but it's responding to us. The echo cannot say something back that we haven't already said. And so when you ask the question, what do I need to change? What is the answer to this question? The universe is already waiting with the answer because the answer is already formed. Every question has an answer built into it. It's not like you have to go get an answer. If you have a question, you have an answer. They come together. It's like the chicken and the egg. They come together. And you begin to realize there's a synergistic activity in the universe that supports every idea you have. There's this idea, that this journey lets us realize that we don't have eyes so we can see. And this is critical. We do not have eyes to see. We do not have ears to hear. We see. We have eyes because we already see. It's not so that we can see that we have the eyes. It's because there's an insight that's already present that's there that gives us the eyes to focus and receive the benefit of our physical surroundings. But you know what? There's people like, I'm remembering stories about Ray Charles, and I didn't believe it was true when I heard him when I was a little boy, and then I saw the movie Ray, and it was true. A friend of mine was from Chicago. He said, man, Ray Charles walks around Chicago with no cane and no dog. Well, I thought that was impossible. But he understood how to count his footsteps. He understands a place. He just knew how to do that. And sure enough, there's the movie, and I'm like, wow, he's walking around with no cane and no dog because he can see without eyes. He can see without eyes. Are you feeling me on this? You don't need eyes to see. You have eyes because you already see. You have ears because there's something within you that already hears. You have a mind because there's something inside of you that already knows. And when you get that, when you accept that, when you allow that to be the truth, then you stop trying to pretend like there's something out there that can affect you, and you realize whatever I'm experiencing, it's in me right now. And I have the power to change my mind, to change my life. You know, there's a story about a great king. I've been trying to tell this story for a while. I get to tell it today. This great king wanted to be enlightened. You know, he was Lord and master over everything. He wanted to be enlightened. Well, he heard that there was this holy man in town who operated as a leathersmith, a tanner, whatever you call the people who works with the leather. So he goes to the man. And he tells him he wants to be enlightened. And the man gives him some water that he's been using to tan the leather. You understand what I'm saying? It's used, it's early. He says, here, drink this. And so the king is first of all insulted, but at the same time he's embarrassed because, you know, this guy's supposed to know what he's doing, but he's not going to drink this water. So he pretends like he drinks it, and he pours the water, and it soaks up into his shirt. He said, there, I drank it. I says, fine. Well, as soon as he gets back to the palace, he tells his servant girl, I want you to take this shirt and wash it. Well, her having a discernment, and discernment, once again, discernment is the ability to recognize the divine pattern behind all things. Being able to recognize the oneness. She knew what had happened. Instead of washing the shirt, she wrung it out and drank the water. So pretty soon, she begins to have insight and to act as an insightful person, and people begin to consult her. And so he hears about this servant girl in his court who has all this wisdom, and he calls her. He says, I want to learn how to do this. How are you doing this? And he says, great king, everything I have, I got from you. Everything I have, I got from you. Everything in your life, people, is a blessing when you take the opportunity to recognize, you know, just because it looks like a problem, just because it looks like a bad person, just because it looks like it's a horrible experience, just because I think the right person or the wrong person got elected president, it doesn't have to affect my life in a negative way. I can accept the fact that there's a divine pattern behind all things, and that divine pattern is conspiring for my good even now, even through this, and because this is such a huge and monumental activity, requires me to go deeper than I ever have before. It requires me to go further on the journey than I ever have before, and allow the truth underneath this. That's why, like I said, you can ask the question, any question, and it bobs to the surface, and I'm going to allow that truth that always bobs to the surface to be present for me now. And let that be my guide. Let that be my compass. Let that navigate me through the waters of my life so that I can have an existence, a life of my choosing. Of my choosing. And the storm is passing over because I'm one with the storm. I called the storm unto me. Okay, I'm supposed to stop here. Okay, I'm going to stop in 1 second. Because sequence is another piece of this. Now this is kind of out there, but I'm going to share it with you because I'm out there. This is what I do. So I had this vision on my porch one day. We had a passion fruit vine that would overhang. And so I used to pretend like a kid, I'm in my fort when I'm behind the passion fruit vine. And nobody can see me. I know it's stupid, but I love to do that. I'd be sitting in my rocking chair, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in my fort right now. They don't know I'm over here. And I mean, people can look and see if they really wanted to, but that's the game I'm playing with myself. Okay, I'm getting my stories mixed up. So my grass is very long. I like to let my grass grow long. I call it habitat. I like to keep it like that, but the city wants me to cut my grass. And so I'm lamenting the fact I got this letter in the mail that says cut your grass. So I'm talking to the grass, okay? I'm talking to the grass. And I'm lamenting to the grass, I have to cut you. I don't want to cut you. Now I'm going to the they. They are making me cut you. There's no they, people. So it's not me. Please understand that I don't want to cut you. And then the grass talked back to me. See, if you want to have a relationship with mystical brother, how far down the rabbit hole do you really want to go? The grass said, don't worry about it. We want you to cut us. We need you to cut us. What you don't understand is that when you cut us, and you haul us away, you take our seeds further than we can get them on our own. And our job is to put seeds all over the planet. When the birds eat us and fly away, they take the seeds further. When the wind takes the seed, it goes further. Our job is to put seeds all over the place, and when you cut the grass, that's what happens. So I'm like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. And then the grass started talking about me. The grass said, you see, your problem, this is what the grass said, your problem is you're hung up in sequence. And I used to sit there and I like to watch the grass dance when the wind hits the top of the grass. You see the swirling pattern. Oh, God, that's meditation to me. He says, see, you're caught up in sequence, Mwata. You think that the dancing pattern that you like is the wind moving across us. What you don't understand is that when we are ready to seed, we bend and call the wind to us. That's when I knew. I said, okay, something is happening here. Something is happening here. I just moved to another level of awareness. Sequence is irrelevant. Sequence is irrelevant in the mystery because there's only one time and it's right now. And when you recognize that there's only one time and that time is right now, you know that right now you are making a difference in your life. The question is, what kind of a difference are you making? Is it a difference that you enjoy? Is it a difference that you want? Or is it something adverse to that? You get to have it any way you want it. It can be as difficult or as easy as you choose. That's the mystery. And the journey is the time it takes to understand that and reveal it in our lives in such a fashion that it becomes an everyday experience. We don't have eyes so that we can see. We see because we have eyes. And when you believe in what you can't see, more than what you do see, you will see what you don't see, and you won't see what you do see. That's a rhythm. It's a riddle. But if you think about it, when you can believe in what's not seen more than what's seen, then you can stop letting what's seen control your life. When you can believe with what's not being seen more than what's being seen, then you can stop allowing the appearance to dictate your life. And now there's something beyond that. I'm peering into the mystery. I'm peering the curtain back so that I can reveal the truth behind all things. When you believe in that more than this, then this is what you see, and you won't see this anymore, and you will walk through life with the recognition that God is all there is, and I am one with God, and it's happening through me right now, and I am the all-powerful, most magnificent being that's ever existed because I'm the only one. I'm one with the one. People, this is a beautiful way to live. It's a beautiful. You young people here, man, when you master this, oh my God, change your life now. Don't wait till you get old. You can grow up with an understanding that the power and the presence of the divine is operating through you right now, responding to you right now, and therefore it is happening as I choose. And that's the mystery, and that's the journey, and this is your opportunity to apply it in your life on a daily level. Go outside and talk to the rain. Go outside.